Awesome. Come on out, guys. It's time for the review. Alrighty, starting off with the box, we've got the wonderful portrait, but also the body. Turning over to the side, we can see the frame includes lovely generator slots, boasting great articulation, and a lot of runners, a lot of interesting colors. We got some promise of some pretty nice action poses. And this is number 15, so we'll see how that frame looks when we get inside. Right off the bat, we've got our two sizes of beam sabers, so we can recreate that 7 sword with his beam daggers, his beam sabers. We probably have the GN blades in here somewhere. Okay, we're gonna stop everything for this. This is lovely. Just look at these chrome pieces. That's insane. These are beautiful. I'm gonna have to wear gloves for these. Make sure you have a glass file or something to do this so we don't take that coating off. Pardon me, when we're standing. Wow. We also have some metal decals, it looks like, in a special little drug dealer bag, so that's very cool. Almost looks like a chemotherapy drug bag. Lovely panels on these white parts. We've got our nice Real Grade stickers. The blue is really lovely. It's a nice change up from the traditional red caution stickers we see on most kits, and these are really pretty. All the small details labeling the GN drives is very cool. We've got more technical bits. We've got some gripping and expressive hands. Wondering if we have any actual, like, pardon me, grabby hands, but that's less so an issue because there's lots of great detail on these molds. Instruction manual. Looks like the frame pieces are pretty big. For the leg, for the body. Now let's see about those arms. Same thing with the arms. Lots of hilts. So many hilts. This guy has got so many swords, and that's a lot of fun. He's going to be prepared to fight anything that you can put in display with him. And our beautiful convex lenses, those are going to look great. They're already reflecting that light so well. The aforementioned beam saber bits, our MS joints. We do have some posable hands here. Looks like we've got the thumb articulated away from the fingers, and then the trigger finger right there. We've got the separate, more skeletal, like 2 bones in the lower forearm. That's very cool. Access points for the GN drive reactors. And our final standard outer shell armor pieces. A lot of promise, a lot of interesting little bits, but I'm going to stop talking about it. We're just going to do it. First off, just want to apologize about the camera angle on this first segment. I was trying something new, thought I could get it a little closer. Unfortunately, it just ended up with my camera not focusing because of my big stupid hands and making this first segment a little blurry. The legs go together really nicely, though. I will say on that initial flat chrome sticker on the thigh, there is a gate there, so make sure that you get that flat, because if not, it's going to crease the sticker and not look so great. The legs are really good builds, the feet especially. As the name Real Grade implies, it does feel very realistic. The toe bends, the arch can hunch, the thigh gets like a nice deep bend, and the calf like shifts. So the legs are lovely. The things that I thought were metal stickers in the yellow bag initially are actually holographic pieces, which you put over top of those chrome stickers to protect the chrome sticker from being damaged, but it's also holographic, so it adds an extra layer of shimmer to the kit, which was a really nice touch. Visually, these kits are just stunning. The engineering on the Real Grades universally is just awesome. I'm always blown away. I love all the small parts, even though sometimes they're a little tedious. It really gives you a sense of extra depth compared to a high grade. You look at it and you pick it up and you move it around and it feels actually like mechanical, and it feels, well, real. The skirting on the front of this kit was kind of a pain to put on because of that little peg and sandwiching it between the two parts. And then there is a little nub on the forearm of the kit that I cut off on one of the arms. That's why I was fumbling there so much for a second. And you actually have to keep that nub on because you run one of those films down through the shoulder blade that I'm assembling now and attach it. I actually ended up using some glue and gluing a tiny piece of a runner and attaching it to the forearm, sliding that piece in and gluing it all down. And it did hold up pretty well. So that's fortunate, but I wouldn't have made a structural difference if I couldn't get it fixed anyway, due to it just being a little aesthetic piece. Next up, we're going to finish building these weapons. In my excitement, I got kind of distracted and was building stuff and realized I wasn't filming, so I already built the GN sword shield rifle thing. It's in the top right hand corner. Those chrome pieces for the blades are so shiny. Please just be very careful with your cuts and your sanding because that finish comes right off. And the shield bits, the blue parts right there that I'm building, don't fit on the best, so just be mindful of that. And here we have our finished product. As I said, lots of nice depth. I love the convex lenses we use. You can see the holograms shining off of those films. It's all very nice and stunning. Next up, we have the docked position. You can see how far that toe bends forward, the knee comes up, and it balances pretty well. We've got the chest cockpit open and Setsuna there in the hand, which he does quite a bit in the show, so it's nice to be able to recreate even more mundane poses with this kit. As I said, the Exia is weighted pretty well in that it doesn't topple over like that. Next up, we have it reaching for its beam sabers. You can see with one of the articulate hands, it's able to reach around with ease to grab onto the beam saber hilt attached to its back while already having the other one drawn, which is a great detail. You can also swap any of these out for these short beam daggers, but since he only has two hands, you're probably never going to have them all off at once. So just use your imagination there. Next up, we can show off those GN blades, which are shinier than my head. They look really nice, and I wish that they had a little peg on the hilt so that it could connect into the hand and hold it better. We are supposed to use the sandwich hands for these, so be mindful of that, but I changed out the weapons a lot for this video, so I used the articulate hands. And lastly, we have the most iconic loadout with the GN shield and GN sword. Again, really utilizing those chrome pieces and a lot of nice depth on that blaster. Both of the shield and the blade have extra clips connecting it to the arm just before the elbow so that there is extra security and you can use the posing hands with it to give it some extra depth. You can see the reflection on those chrome pieces and on the holographic pieces, and it comes around for the rifle mode. And then lastly, our most iconic pose with the GN blade outstretched, ready to commence armed intervention. Setsuna is a Gundam after all, and I think that this Real Grade really does his Gundam that he treasured so very much. great justice. And here's a little shot of everything laid out. We got our 2 beam sabers, 2 beam daggers, the GN blades. We got lots of hands. We have 2 fixed posed outstretched hands. We've got 2 fist hands, and we've got our 2 sandwich hands. So lots of different hands. You can pretty well pose, gesticulate, have them doing whatever it is that you need them to do. And I really appreciate all of these options allowing us to pose Exia in however many ways we see fit. Lastly, let's just touch on some little gimmicks. There's a lot of stickers in this sheet, not quite as many as like the Real Grade Justice or the Zeong, but there's more than I cared to put on. I put like the individual ones on that you build throughout, like in the GN drives, or the shield insignias. But for a lot of the little marking ones, we kind of forgoed it, and that's okay. Like I said earlier, this kit has some like pretty nasty gates on it. So I actually ended up just using some of these caution stickers to hide the gate marks on some of these pieces. Like on this blue part, there's a really nasty gate because it's gated right there in the middle. So I just put a little caution thing over it. So Gunpla's freedom. You can use as many or as few of the stickers as you want. Since the gates are bad, just really liked using them as cover-ups for my own mistakes. The articulate hands are pretty cool, and they have little, at least on the right hand, it does have a little notch to secure the GN gun, which is really nice. And even though that this leg does have some looseness, you can see it moving a little. When you're posing it up, it does hold pretty well. So at least the dynamic stuff will be good for a while. We have opening and closing fins. These swivel. The GN drive opens up and can be taken off, which is really cool. There isn't much head articulation, which kind of stinks. I have it pretty loose on the joint here, but if you depress it all the way, it doesn't look very much, but you can kind of move it up and it'll be fine. And this thing has so many weapons, which is a lot of fun. You can pose with everything. And then one design cue that I don't love on this kit, I'm going to take the leg off to illustrate it a little better. They want you to slide out this white part. Come on. So the light part opens up, and then you flip out this piece that was hidden. And this is how you attach the GN blade. So if you're building this and you don't want to swap in and out, I really recommend just leaving these pegs out when you build it. It doesn't really get in the way. It might look a little awkward when it's out, but the alternative is like having to take it apart on and off just to put it back in. But boom, there we go. All in all, this was a really fun kit, though. The real grades never cease to amaze me. They're such satisfying builds, and I'm excited for all the other real grades in my backlog to get to. Is there a certain real grade you guys would like to see me do next? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with the polls. We got the Sigrune coming out here this next week, so hopefully I'll get that in the mail a little faster than I got the Schwalbe Grays this last time around. And I will see you this coming Monday with another review. Thanks for watching, guys.